Hello.
Hello, and welcome to It's Your Time You're Wasting.
You're wasting. That's right.
There'll be at some point in the future we will synchronise our ability to say that, and it won't sound like a shambles right at the very beginning.
And like and subscribe.
But not today.
Like and
today
subscribe.
is not that day.
No, it's
listeners.
Not. No. But we're shambles straight away. Like and subscribe. I'll just put that up there. You know you want to.
Yeah, before you've heard it, before you've had your time wasted, subscribe early, because you certainly won't later.
That's right. There you go. That's a good advert. I'm sure that will go down well.
So,
with
Martin
David
Robinson,
Dido.
How are you?
And Martin Robinson.
Just me today. Martin Robinson, how are you? How are you, Martin Robinson?
Chaotic. It's a chaotic start to the day. It's actually, we're recording on April the 1st, April Fool's Day. It is the morning of April the 1st.
Pinch punch, first of the month.
And all that, and white rabbits.
Yeah.
And it's sort of spring-like, but not quite. Early spring.
Springish. It's 9 degrees here in Somerset. What is it in
Somerset?
In London?
I've got no idea.
Somerset.
I have no figures.
You don't have a thermometer.
I haven't got a thermometer in front of me. No.
My watch tells me the temperature.
Hold it.
Yeah. Goodness. So, listeners, Martin is getting out a barometer shaped like a guitar, which he's going to play for us.
Hang on, I've got a chord in there. Hang on.
Nah. Strum us a chord, Martin.
It says 20 degrees here.
Yeah, that's bang accurate, I'm sure.
Yeah, so I have got a thermometer.
Did you make it yourself?
Woodwork classes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that was a nice little peek into Victoriana. I guess you probably bought that in the late 19th century, didn't you?
No, it's what's left of my mother's death.
Oh, okay.
But there you go.
What?
Clearing out her house. There's all these boxes.
Slightly more sombre than we wanted.
It is.
Okay. Well.
She used to tap it every day. She lived to 94, though, so So
she tapped it.
She tapped it every day.
What? So for young people, they might misunderstood sandal heel. Yeah.
You tap the barometer.
I'd tap that.
Oh, for goodness sake! Anyway, there we go. Let's get rid of the names. So we can't,
Shall we?
Yeah.
What people might forget who you are. You might forget who you are. Martin's forgotten quite a bit this morning already.
And for those who are watching just in sound.
Oh God.
We really should start again. I mean, I don't know. I had too much sleep last night. I think that's what I didn't have enough, to tell you the truth. But there we go. What are we talking about today, apart from nonsense?
Why did you say you had too much sleep and then immediately?
I changed my mind immediately. Yeah, that's I'm becoming like Donald Trump, only quicker.
Yeah, and less orange.
Yeah, say one thing and immediately.
And not firing so many missiles. Well, that's good. So Martin told me earlier before we came on air that he's done absolutely nothing in the last month since we last broadcast, or narrowcast, or whatever webcast, or whatever it is that we're doing.
Podcast.
But I've had a more interesting time. I've just returned from Australia, which is fabulous. First time I've been, and I'm a fan, Martin.
You're a fan of Australia?
I like it, yeah.
Did you see any kangaroos and koalas?
I did. I saw kangaroos, koalas. I also saw wombats, which were a bit of a surprise. They are huge little.
Yeah. Huge little.
Well, they is.
Yeah, they're huge little things.
They look like they should be smaller, but they're proper units. They're dense. You wouldn't want to hit one with a car, or throw one at a car. They're surprising.
What's wrong with this?
Yeah, I don't know.
We've lost control of the English language.
I was also attacked by a bird.
Were you?
It flew at me. Oh dear. You've let yourself down there, haven't you?
This is 1970s all over again.
Yeah. It's like Benny Hill come running through in a minute. I was attacked by a bird. And this white bird, it wasn't a cockatoo, but it was a white bird, and it flew at me, and it sort of went for my eyes. And it wasn't a swan, no. It was a bit smaller than that. Went for my eyes. I sort of escaped from it and ran off. And I said to some people later, I was attacked by a bird. And they said, well, that's a bit unusual. And I was like, I know. And they went, yeah, it's not the time of year that people are normally attacked by birds.
So it's a
apparently,
time of year thing.
Normally, apparently, it's a season. When they're nesting, they're pretty keen at flying at people, but they're not nesting. So it just took exception to
it. Could be a late nester.
My ginger locks. I don't know what it was,
Or
but
it
it
might have
wasn't.
wanted to nest in your hair.
Maybe
it's autumn.
Maybe
now,
I interrupted it in the. Yes, it is.
Yeah. So.
Yeah, I know.
Don't know what's going on there.
Yeah, that's my only criticism really of Australia is they just got the seasons wrong.
They've got it upside down.
Yeah, they haven't thought it through.
No. Christmas in the middle of summer.
No, that's fine. No, but it isn't. It's Christmas. It's still in December. They haven't put August in Christmas time.
No, but Christmas
it's still
was
December.
Originally a Winterval, wasn't it? A winter festival.
Yeah, but it was never in August.
No, it was never in December either. It was before pre-calendar. It was in cold times.
Oh, I mean, it is cold in December.
Not in Australia.
No.
That's what we're talking about.
Sure, I get that. But my point to the Australians, if you're listening to this, look, it's fine that you've got December and Christmas, and that's fine. That's normal. You don't have to call it just because it's hot. You don't have to call it summer. It's winter. Everyone understands that it's winter.
Oh, I see. You actually think it should
be
called winter in Australia?
Yeah.
So
obviously, because it's December.
Right. No, that's very controversial.
It's just confusing.
You're the Peter Hitchens, the Peter Hitchens of the seasons.
Oh, yeah. What is it? He's really, really cross about daylight saving, isn't he?
Every year. It's
furious.
It's like the first cuckoo of spring.
Stealing time from us. Yeah. Absolutely mental, as far as I can tell.
Livid.
No, I mean he might be livid, but he's also bonkers.
Well, I couldn't possibly comment on that because I can't afford a solicitor.
Okay. Do you think he'd sue for people? If he's suing people who are saying he's bonkers, he's going to need a lot of solicitors, isn't he?
No, I had a long conversation with him once about Theresa May.
No doubt.
And
was he a fan?
He's not a fan of Theresa May at all. And as she went to my old school, he was very interested in finding out all the gossip. And I didn't have any because I wasn't there at the same time as her, being younger than her.
Are you younger than Theresa May?
I would have assumed
it was the other way. I would have assumed it was the other way around.
Yeah, she looks younger.
Yes, she does.
Yes,
she does,
Farage,
viewers. Martin's having a little joke there, but she really does look younger.
Nigel Farage is younger than me, which is a bit of an upset.
Great. Younger than you, and slightly to the right, I think.
Slightly to the right, yes, slightly to the right. He leans slightly to the right, but not as far right as some, apparently.
No, there's a few maybe who are further.
According to the NEU,
right.
He's not.
Goebbels was further to the right, maybe.
That's it. But according to the NEU, he shouldn't be discussed in schools or supported.
Oh no, he shouldn't.
That's right.
No, they don't want. They want political neutrality, except
for the Greens.
They don't want. Yeah, they like Zach Polanski, don't they? Everyone seems to like Zach Polanski. He's a chipper little chappy, isn't he?
I don't know if I like Zach Polanski. He said he was the only Jewish leader of a British political party until it was pointed out to him that there have been quite a few other.
Like Benjamin Disraeli.
Disraeli famously. Ed Miliband.
Ed Miliband.
You know.
Right.
But anyway, so that's by the by. What are we talking about today?
He's made some great films though, hasn't he?
Zach Polanski. Oh.
Yeah, beautiful.
That's a different Polanski, isn't it? Isn't that the... Ooh,
yeah.
Ooh.
Isn't that the rapist?
Oh, God, no, you see, you really need to solicitor up, I think.
No, I think
surely
he's still wanted in Britain, isn't he? He can't enter Britain.
He can't enter Britain because, funnily enough, he's wanted
of an
here,
accusation,
wanted
isn't
here,
it?
Clearly.
Statutory rape.
Yeah, paedophilia, wasn't it? It's a paedophile attack, I think. So that's why it's statutory rape and not... Yeah.
Right.
goes into, because it was
Well, there we are. He really shouldn't be running a political party in that case.
No, he shouldn't. But he was a hypnotist at one point, wasn't he? So
Zach Polanski.
Yes.
Oh.
Zach, you don't know this? Zach Polanski was a He hypnotized. He ran a boob expanding enterprise where he hypnotized women into thinking into making their boobs bigger.
That can't be true.
You're thinking I'm making it up because it's April Fool's Day. I'm not making it up.
Maybe. Really?
Yes.
Zach Polanski, the leader of the Green Party.
Yes.
Was hypnotising women into making their boobs bigger.
Yeah, not against their will.
Like as a sort of weird stage show or something.
No, it was a job.
Is he like the Derren Brown of politics?
It was something to do with when he was in the Lib Dems, which is
wow, that explains it. Yeah.
Which is a breeding ground for leaders of other political parties. Liz Truss, for example, was a Lib Dem in her youth.
I mean, she just probably went opened the wrong door, didn't she?
Luckily, and Zach Polanski wasn't there, or was he? Anyway, what are we talking about today? Are we talking about anything?
I know. Well, just general blather.
That's 11 minutes of blather.
No. I know. God, is it really?
Yes.
I'm so sorry, everyone. Maybe we'll see if we can work out how to cut some of that. Okay, listen, here's what we're talking about. Panic around technology and how technology can move faster than human judgment. So what happens when institutions lose confidence in their own judgment? So there's been a story where a school appears to have outsourced literary judgment to AI and ended up pulling books like 1984, bit of a strange one to ban there, and Twilight, Stephanie Meyer's Twilight, which I probably would ban from shelves. And we're also going to talk about smart glasses, which make exam cheating harder to detect, exposing the fragility of our assessments. And we're going to frame it all by thinking about G.K. Chesterton's fence. G.K. Chesterton's. Do you know about G.K. Chesterton's fence, Martin?
I do know a bit about it, but you tell us. You've written it down.
Shall I? Well, I've got a little. I mean, G.K. Chesterton wrote it down.
Yes.
I'm going to read it out though.
Yeah, but you've got it written down not in G.K. Chesterton's hand, but in print.
No, I haven't got a handwritten letter from G.K. Chesterton. No. So, as G.K. Chesterton said to me in the pub last night, there exists in such cases a certain institution or law, let us say, for the sake of simplicity, a fence or gate erected across a road. The more modern type of reformer goes gaily up to it and says, I don't see the use of this, let us clear it away. To which the more intelligent type of reformer will do well to answer, if you don't see the use of it, I certainly won't let you clear it away. Go away and think. Then, when you can come back and tell me that you don't see the use of it, I may allow you to destroy it.
There you go.
Now, in a vain effort to look clever here, Martin tells me that that's a bit Burkean. Now, I think that's a bit rude to say that G.K. Chesterton's a bit of a Burke. I know. Tell us why it's a bit Burkean, Martin.
Well, it's a bit conservative, really, with a small c, they say, but about change and things. It was Burke looking at what happened across the Channel in France in the time of the French Revolution, and saying that he
wasn't a fan, was he?
He was a fan of the American Revolution, but not the French one. So there are times when you tear down fences, and you really shouldn't do it necessarily because you don't know what things will be unleashed by the changes you make. And this is, and the thing about tradition is we might have forgotten why it's there until you take it away. And then all of a sudden, hell is broken loose. And then you realize, that's why it was there. That's why those forgotten reasons for those rules were there in the first place. So be careful what you wish for when you decide to have progress and change in an institution, really.
Yeah, so a school using AI to decide which books are safe for children. What's that about, Martin?
Well, let's try and take it. I think take it from the school's perspective,
Yeah, yeah,
and that is safeguarding. That
yes,
and we can say that right. What we've got here is that certain things that we teach or certain things that we allow children access to might be
mm,
things that a parent or a, a a group of people, a political party or a newspaper or something
yeah,
like that might object to and suddenly expose us to, or indeed it might cause harm to one of the children that we care for. Therefore, we ought to be careful about what we put
vigilant.
on our shelves.
Yeah,
And you can say something obvious, you know,
yeah,
there are obvious things like pornography, for example, you
yeah.
wouldn't put on your shelf. So there's obviously a line that is drawn somewhere.
Manuals on how to self-harm or something like that. We're
Yeah,
not going to put
yeah.
those on school library shelves.
So,
But so
so
the
let's start
story
from that
is,
point of view. So start with that thing
yeah,
that is about
yeah,
safeguarding our
which
children. Let's start from there. Yeah.
and that's obviously very sensible, and nobody would. Well, but few people would argue with that. Maybe some would. Maybe people that don't like daylight saving time and things like that. Anyway, I know. So the story is a Greater Manchester secondary school. Should we name them?
If we know them, isn't it? Isn't it
Well,
a
we know
Lowry?
it's Lowry Academy. Yeah.
Okay.
So allegedly, let's be careful here. Used AI to earmark around 200 books for removal. So as I said before, things like 1984, Twilight, also Michelle Obama's autobiography, Becoming. I've not read it, but I didn't imagine that it would have content that might be dangerous for children. And the librarian at the school said has been reported as being gobsmacked and refused to remove some of the earmarked titles. So then she faced a safeguarding investigation, later resigned, and so
Can I
all a bit
just
of a puzzler. Yeah,
from what little I know about this, which is
yeah,
basically from an LBC article,
okay,
she comes across the librarian as a bit of a hero, I must say,
right. Go
that,
on.
and that she stood her ground, and I think that's rather wonderful. So what is the argument for removing, let's say, some books? Now, what about
So
1984?
apparently, this.
What's
Well,
1984 got in it that should
well,
remove it?
let's come back. Let's come back to that in a second, because apparently
Okay.
all this was triggered by the head teacher objecting to the library stocking Laura Bates' book "Men Who Hate Women," which is a sort of an expose of incel culture, which is kind of an interesting take in and of itself. I mean, Laura Bates. I don't know if you're familiar with Laura Bates, but she does a lot of talks in schools to young people about misogyny. And about sexism. She wrote a book that I remember my daughter's reading years ago called Everyday Sexism, and she's written books specifically for younger children. And this book, I haven't read The Men Who Hate Women, but as I say, an expose apparently of incel culture, and this was the trigger. The head teacher finding this in the library made him
Right.
suspect or decide that the library contained books which were unsafe for children. So to go back to
Is the
your,
head teacher he, by the way? Do we know that?
well, they're reported as being a he. Yeah,
Right. Okay.
I don't know their name.
Okay. No, just
Yeah, I don't know how important that is,
no.
but yeah.
Well,
So I can't comment on the content of Men Who Hate Women, but because I've not read it, but I think we can comment on 1984, and that obviously there are some bits in 1984 that I wouldn't be putting the book in front of younger children. I wouldn't be encouraging 11-year-olds necessarily to read it. There's some sex scenes in there, aren't there? There's some torture scenes, and not especially graphic in and of themselves, but the threat of it is pretty horrible with the the box of rats, and some of the misogynistic attitudes that well, what's he? Oh, I've forgotten the protagonist's name. What's he called?
Winston Smith.
Winston Smith has towards his partner in the book are a little bit problematic. You read them as a modern reader and think, oh, that's an unpleasant view to hold. But I think it's not presented in a way as that he's being admirable at all. I think we're meant to see him as weak and flawed.
Also, his attitudes stink of the 1980s, of course.
Go on.
Doesn't matter.
What do you mean? Oh, okay. You're saying, oh, okay, yeah. I mean, honestly, what can you do? yeah. Anyway, yeah. So, should we ban it? No, that's obviously silly. Should we restrict it? Maybe. I mean, I remember working in a school years and years ago now where we had library lessons, as lots of schools do or did, certainly. And once a week, children would troop into the library in their English lesson and choose books. And there were certain areas of the library which were only for students in Key Stage 4. And the younger students were terribly keen to try and get books from that section that had been designated not for them. And it was like whack-a-mole, trying to sort of fend them off copies of 1984 and all the rest of it. Obviously, they didn't want to read. Had they got their hot little hands on a copy of 1984, they wouldn't have made it past page 3.
I was at the Tate Gallery, Tate Modern, a couple of days ago on Monday, and I went to see the Tracy Emin exhibition, which was superb. But wandering around the rest of the gallery, there's one video installation which has got a trigger warning on it about scenes of a sexual nature. And so put my head round the corner there to see what was going on.
As you do.
And it was full of schoolboys.
Yeah.
Hundreds of them.
Nice.
So you couldn't see what was going on because there was just all these school parties had obviously found their way there.
It's almost like that should be part of the installation. The schoolboys need to be there permanently. Yeah. That's great. So, the plot thickens a little bit because the school has subsequently said the books weren't in fact banned. They were audited, age banded, and then returned to appropriate categories. That's disputed. People say they have, but I guess the interesting thing... Is that
after the librarian resigned?
Well, I mean, hard. I don't know. I don't know any more details about that.
Right.
Just that she obviously says she was so appalled by it all. Yeah. And then was made the subject of a disciplinary action before she resigned. So that's kind of an interesting choice. We don't know the details of that. Obviously, I wouldn't want to, as you said, she comes across like a bit of a hero in the story, but, life's more complex than that. We don't know the details.
No,
but I guess that for me, the really interesting thing is if you're using human judgment to decide on books that might need to be age banded and audited and all the rest of it, you probably wouldn't pick 1984. But the fact that AI was used has resulted in perhaps this storm in a teacup. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, isn't it down to a school librarian to choose what books go in the school library based on what staff would like to see there and departments, etc., etc.? And she probably has a conversation going on with other members of staff to ensure the library stocks books from a range of areas. And she is also there in place, so when children come to take books out...
Well, not anymore, she's not.
Well, she would be there to facilitate the choice of books for certain children, but also whether that book might not be so suitable for that child, particularly to read. I mean, you can see a point where you get to where some schools don't have libraries. Let's just say that straight.
Of course.
That they don't have libraries. Other schools have libraries but no staff.
Yeah.
under lock and key. They go in with their teacher, and the teacher just shows them the library and then takes them out again and locks the door behind them. Other schools have part-time staff who might look after it at points. So school libraries are in various states, but if we had the ideal school library, we would have the professional library service looking after it, and recommending children, etc., etc. What was in there? I think I read 1984 when I was about 11. By the way,
Did you?
It didn't do me any harm, etc., etc.
No.
Yeah, because I've read. We read Animal Farm at school, and I was interested in it, so I went on and read 1984, and loved it. And
fine, good.
And knowing the context of it, this is where age boundaries become a bit peculiar, of course, because some kids are more mature or more open to certain contexts than others at different ages.
Of course.
I remember someone I know who was reading Of Mice and Men as part of their school curriculum, and find it extremely disturbing and upsetting.
Wow.
So so you can't.
I remember one of my daughters picking up and trying to read The Handmaid's Tale when I think she was like 12 or something, and just finding it a bit much at that age.
Yeah, but the thing is whether it's up to AI that has absolutely no emotional understanding, doesn't know anything, to make these sorts of judgments. It fools us that it knows, and that's the thing. We can be fooled by it, that it understands and it knows and things like that, but it doesn't understand or know anything. That's important to state, I think. But it gives the impression that it does. And should we outsource our human judgment about things to AI? And this is the big philosophical thing that's going on, because obviously more and more we are, and institutions more and more are, and whether I mean, I've used it for an email once or twice, not that it did very much, right? It just just sorted out my grammar, really, but
no small task.
No, certainly not. So what do you think?
Well, so so there's the AI angle, which I think, as we've said, there's we don't know what the criteria for judgment there. It's obviously much blunter, but I think where we can apply the logic of Chesterton's fence is by if we go back to that initial encounter where head teacher sees Laura Bates on the shelf and decides there's a problem, there's a safeguarding issue. That following Chesterton's logic, he should go away and have a think. That he should find out about
head teachers doing that. They've got to be dynamic and show their leadership. Exactly. Straight away.
So he should, that's the point, is that he needs to go away and have a think and sort of work out why am I upset about a book talking about incel culture? Why would that be a bad thing? Why wouldn't I want that on my library shelves? Why wouldn't I want young people to have access to that book? And if on careful reflection he decides, no, I'm right to remove that, then maybe we should let him do so. But it strikes me, without knowing anything of the situation, I'm imagining here that what's gone on is he's just decided he can't see the point of it, thinks it's harmful, wants to get rid of it, and from that has decided that there will be other books of a problematic nature in the school. Too much time and trouble to sort of ask, and for an individual human being to go and sort of audit the book. So let's get AI to do it, and then that results in this. And so hang on. There's
the judgment there of just happening upon a book. Let's say they've got a thing about boys and reading, and that they're saying not enough boys are reading books, so we ought to have books there that are attractive to boys. And then the first book he comes upon is one about saying how boys are horrible
Hate
creatures and
women. Yeah.
toxic male
Yeah.
and all this sort of stuff. So let's get rid of that
Yeah.
toxic male nonsense. We want the library to be a space that's welcoming to boys, particularly white working class boys, etc., whatever it happens to be. But you can see that you come in with an angle.
No, absolutely. I can absolutely see that. Yeah.
Now, the big
but
jump
that's the point, isn't it?
is taking
go
that
away.
Yeah, but taking that angle, the big jump from that to AI is crazy.
Well, I mean, again, it's all understandable, isn't it? Because I've decided there's a problematic book in the library. I'm suspicious that there are more problematic books in the library. I haven't got time to actually do the work myself, so let's get AI to do it. You can see the chain of logic.
But right, let's do this 20 years ago, just for the sake of argument. Right, let's talk to the librarian about the books in the library.
This is what I mean. This is the point of the fence, isn't it? That you go away and have a think. You talk to the librarian. You don't just have a knee-jerk reaction. Now, we don't know that that's what happened, but you can only imagine, based on the story, that this is a scenario that we're kind of fictionalizing, that we're saying this is what we think happened, despite the fact that it may be utterly different. So I don't want to create a sort of false narrative around any of the individuals involved. But the point being there for me is that AI has caused a bigger problem down the line, but the problem's not caused by AI. The problem's caused by a lack of human judgment. Yeah,
it's the same. I mean, I think isn't Daisy Christodoulou written a bit about this as well? I mean, speaking as a football fan, VAR. I mean, it's a little thing about you've got technology.
I've read her book on VAR.
Yeah. So you've got a bit about you've got the technology, so let's use it, and then it comes up with its own set of problems and issues again, which revolve around the human judgment about what to do with the information you've now got. And so there's two levels of human judgment here, one of which is the first place to say, I don't like that book in the library, bump, let's get rid of it. The second one is to say, what's AI going to come up with? And then to believe what AI writes as though it's some sort of gospel that we should actually follow up.
I think the AI issue for me is that it becomes a way of avoiding taking responsibility. That nobody's saying, oh, well, okay, I've read this and I've judged it and decided it's unsuitable. Instead, there's the neutrality of a machine having this pseudo neutrality where we can pretend that the judgment's a step removed and there's nothing personal involved in it. So,
well, what it's done in football is remove the referee from taking a decision sometimes, because they know they've got the backup of VAR. So perhaps they avoid taking the decision on the pitch. They wait for the VAR people, who are then judging what they're seeing from the machine in slow motion and different angles, but making a completely inhuman, out of context, because they're not even at the same ground. They're well away from it. And it's the same thing here, that someone else is, because the librarian hasn't looked at that list of AI books. It's someone somewhere else who's looked at the list and said these should go.
So, well, I mean, maybe not even that. I think, it'd be wrong to say that AI censored the books, because, as you pointed out, AI doesn't know or think anything.
Yeah.
No, but what's happened there is that people in the school leadership have used AI so that they don't have to admit they're going through a process of censorship.
Yeah, that it's something objective about this idea, but it's not objective.
I mean, well, no, I suppose not. But it also takes us, beyond all of this into sort of, well, you talk there about lots of schools don't actually have functional libraries. You've got a school library. What's it for? Is it just for encouraging boys to read pap, or does it have some more rarefied purpose where we're stocking knowledge that we want children to have access to, where we are providing them with nutrition that will feed their minds, or is it something paler? And I think
like the boys at the Tate Modern, there is something attractive about
bless them.
banned books,
What's banned?
about Lady
Oh, there
Chatterley's
absolutely
lover,
is.
about whatever these things happen to be,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
looking up
No,
root
I
words in the
remember
dictionary. Those were the days.
years ago. I worked in a school where the school librarian, unusually, was a young man, and he was, he was quite sort of. He was quite sort of hip, and he had tattoos and that sort of
Oh
thing,
my
and the
God.
kids all thought he was cool. I know. For a librarian, what's going on? And he did this. He did all sorts of things. Like he did this thing, maybe slightly ill-advisedly, called reading terrorism, where he'd burst into classrooms and read a snippet of a book and then run off. And I know. I know, very odd. But I remember one. I think it was World Book Day or something like that. He convinced the deputy head to do an assembly where he was. It was the year that the Bunker Diaries had won the Carnegie Young Fiction Prize, and it was a controversial choice. And anyway, what the deputy head said in his assembly was, you might have heard that this book has won the Carnegie Award, but we disapprove of it. It's full of content that's not appropriate to school children. You definitely should. You're not allowed to read it. It's banned. Blah 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 blah. And then the librarian left loads of copies of it around the school. Which is kind of wonderful.
Know the book. Is it?
Oh, okay. Yeah, it's quite graphic. Well, I mean, that's a judgment call, isn't it? But
I know.
The point.
I'm asking you to make that judgment.
Oh well, look, I think it's. I wouldn't ban any books. I'd be, I would, like I said at the beginning, I wouldn't recommend 1984 to 11-year-olds, despite the fact that the 11-year-old Martin Robinson lapped it up. But I wouldn't stop them reading it. But I think that there's something in here about safeguarding becoming an excuse. That we all, like everybody agrees, safeguarding is really important. We need to keep children safe, and that is absolutely uncontroversial. But if we're using safeguarding as an excuse for risk aversion, then does it risk becoming something else?
Yeah, I mean, you get to a point where you take away. God, there's a lovely video I was watching the other day.
Oh yeah,
about playgrounds in the past compared to playgrounds now, and how extraordinarily dangerous the playgrounds that I played on were. From the most obvious thing that if you fell from a height, you fell on concrete. I mean, not the sort of soft falls you have
bouncy
now.
stuff they have now.
Yeah, and getting your fingers caught in bolted bits where it's swinging around. Anyway, all these sorts of things, and the types of injuries you used to get. How far can you safeguard? I mean, to get to a point where you actually got people who can't cope with any threat, which actually is part of growing up, is to learn how to deal with certain threats and difficulties in life.
No, and so where's the line with safeguarding? So we all agree that children should not be put at certain kinds of risks, and we all want to keep children safe from any kind of abuse. Of course we do, but when safeguarding creeps into children not meeting disturbing ideas, is that still safeguarding, or is that something else? And I take the point that you're making about cotton wool kids and sort of making sure they never have any kind of physical threat, from falling over.
These are conceptual threats. These a threat in a book
I know.
is not a physical threat.
It's not a threat.
Playground thing. This is something about the mind.
It's not unsafe. I mean, conceivably, you probably don't want young children reading Marquis de Sade, or there's always lines that we're going to draw, that we're not going to stock certain things in school libraries. But that if a determined 11-year-old wants to read 1984, of course they should. And if they then meet content that is challenging, disturbing, then that's okay, I think.
Yeah, in context, and again, it's context. I mean, again, if it was just porn in the school library,
for sure. 100%,
You know,
100%.
there's obvious things,
But
but
that
mind
goes.
you, this brings us to mobile phone bans and things like that. I mean, it's extraordinary that we've got AI doing the opposite on their mobile phones, which is, you know, whether it be AI sort of
No.
encouraging some kids towards suicide, you've got all
Yeah.
sorts of dodgy content out there, and yet we seem quite happy to allow.
Yeah.
Some
Well,
people seem quite happy to allow children to have these phones from 11 years old upwards, but my God, the school library, help!
I mean, it's extraordinary, isn't it? And I guess so. There's that, and there's also like, why would anyone think it was more appropriate to trust a chatbot than a trained librarian?
Yeah, the very chatbot
Anyway,
that is sort of
I
in
know.
trouble for encouraging a couple of people to suicide. You know, I mean, it's the same chatbot. You know,
Yeah. So look, should we move on to another AI story that we've got?
go on then. Go
So apparently, Martin, students in China are renting AI smart glasses to cheat on exams. So these glasses can be rented for anywhere between $6 to $12 a day, or the equivalent in is it yuan in China?
Yeah.
And these devices. I mean, what they do, you're not speaking to them or anything. Is that they are looking at the exam that you're having to answer and then feeding up responses on the inside of the glass on a sort of heads-up display to say, here's how you answer this question. So clearly these are banned, but they don't.
I would have used them.
Yeah, of course. Who wouldn't? Who wouldn't? And the point is, you know, they don't look like a piece of gadgetry. They look like a pair of glasses.
They look like a pair of Ray-Bans or something like that. Aren't they Ray-Bans?
Well,
I think not dark glasses. Not dark glasses. Ray-Ban glasses. Not dark glasses.
Yeah. So various companies make these. So
okay.
you can get like Ray-Bans AI glasses that don't do this. That they do things. I mean, they're used for sports and that sort of thing. So you put those on, and they tell you things like how fast you're going and that kind of stuff. And that obviously there's a use case for that kind of thing. But what these do in particular, what they've been explicitly designed to do, is have cameras in them which take pictures of the exam content and then feed via the internet responses. So clearly you'd ban those in a high stake environment.
Put it this way: if you're an exam invigilator and 100% of the students in front of you are wearing glasses, you might think there's something amiss.
Yeah, well, yeah, and you might very well think that, but the point is that they're pretty hard to spot. So what do we do?
Glasses are easy to spot.
Glasses are easy to spot. AI glasses are hard to differentiate from non-AI glasses. Is the point? And so. Yeah, so obviously we don't want to create a situation where we're saying, right, let's, this is the GK Chesterton fencing, right, ban all glasses.
Yeah.
Because
let's do that.
That would have.
Let's do that.
I mean, that would be fair, wouldn't it? That would be fair. But
if you can't read properly without glasses, that's something we test for. There's the bell curve.
I mean,
based on
maybe an easier thing to do. Right. Maybe the easier thing to do would be to make exam halls some kind of Faraday cage where the glasses don't work. That's probably possible, isn't it? But the point is, that we're on. It's not so much that this is happening and this is a possibility. It's just that there's an inevitability to this. I mean, like as you said, had you had that as an option, you'd have used it. We know that from the self-report of students in universities that a significant majority of students are using AI to write their assignments.
96%, I think it is. It's very high.
Very, very high. There's also sort of very broad suspicion that university tutors are using AI to mark AI-generated content, so no human involved at any stage of the process.
Report writing, of course. A lot of teachers probably using AI to write reports.
Oh God, these days, yeah, really, yeah, absolutely. I mean, back in the day, we used very, very unsophisticated forms of intelligence to
The
try
boy
and shortcut
is good.
reports. Yeah. Well, just putting like macros on things where you could sort of substitute names and pronouns in and that kind of thing. Because it's tedious. Yeah, I know. I mean, I remember obviously when I was at school, Martin, when I was a student, that the reports, I've still got some copies of the reports that my teachers wrote about me, and they were short, pithy, very rude at times.
Yes.
So my physics teacher, my dad loved this. He described me as so dense I could bend light. And
that's very good, that.
It's very good. He's obviously used that a lot, though, hasn't he?
I think so, yes. It's a sort of...
That was an old favourite.
That was his one joke that worked really well over the years.
Exactly. But my dad loved that. And
I think so.
And obviously I know. And but even, routinely in my school reports, there's like a one sentence kind of slagging of my effort and achievement. Yeah. And now obviously we need paragraphs and paragraphs of platitudes. And why wouldn't
all of them
you
saying
get
nice
AI
things? All of them saying nice things, because children can't put up with being dense or being told they're dense.
No, too much of a safeguarding risk to confront them with the truth.
Yeah. God.
So there's
is that the truth?
Sorts...
Sorry, was that the truth about you?
Well, I can't literally bend light. No, I just wasn't very good at physics.
The denseness, not the bending light thing.
Yeah, I can't. I'm still not very good at physics, and in everyday life, our sort of family joke, I'll commit some sort of blunder, and my wife will go, "It's physics," and we all chuckle. I know. That's what it's like in the Didow household, boys and girls. I know. But anyway, part of the point is, what do we do with assessment? Because we've broadly agreed, and obviously there's people that don't agree, that, coursework's kind of meaningless. 96% of university students getting AI to write their assignments makes it meaningless. Who's got the better AI skills rather than who knows the stuff? So, that the exam, paper and pencil exams look like the only way to safeguard high stakes assessment. And now, okay, we could ban glasses and we can sort of find ways to sort of make these things easier to spot and all the rest of it. But it's a thin end of the wedge, and we're gonna be. It won't be so long before we have AI contact lenses and things which aren't possible to spot in the same way.
The input in the brain, the silicon chip inside the head, gets switched to overload. But
tell me why I don't like this. Yeah.
But it comes to the point where that's what they're looking at, trying to do is to so what are you actually?
All very cyberpunk.
It becomes it's a philosophical question we've actually asked for years. Whether it be open book exams or other things about having information at your fingertips, or whether you need to revise a lot and just have the knowledge in your head, and then if you forget something, well, that's your fault, and that's what the exam's trying to trick you to find you out if you actually can remember things. There is a big question here about what exams are for as well, when it comes to people are outsourcing memory, which is what going back to libraries, that's the big thing about books in the first place, was it allowed us to suddenly access a hell of a lot more information than we can actually. And I use this word advisedly because there's a lot of stuff coming out now that brains don't store information, but that's for another day. But let's say that we can actually access through our minds at any one time, so the written word there. So an open book exam, physics formulae, maths formulae, books,
Look, yeah. No, I think what it tells us is that we need to rethink. We need to think very carefully about what assessment is, what it's for, what we hope to achieve with it. If it's so high stakes that people are wanting to do this kind of like rent glasses, maybe we've made some kind of mistake, and maybe something else needs to happen. Maybe it suggests something about sort of oral assessment vivas. I mean, there was a thing the other week, wasn't there, where Alison Peacock wrote a TES article which seemed a bit silly about getting AI to assess oracy, which sounded absurd. But using oral assessment to assess content knowledge is not a bad idea. It's just hard to do at scale. So I'm sure there are technological solutions to that, which are then gameable and yada, yada, yada.
That's also how accurate you need assessment to be on certain things and how much subjectivity you can actually put in the system. What about pub quizzes?
Yeah.
No, but I mean seriously, because the pub quiz you think would be defunct now, wouldn't you? But actually, people go there with and I'm going to use the term advisedly, gentleman's agreement. I put gentleman in inverted commas there for the viewers, for the listeners. So that you don't cheat, you don't go to the toilet to check your phone, or you don't have the phone underneath the table and things like that.
I'm sure it never happens, Martin.
No, but if even then, and it's obviously not high stakes, but it is to some people. There is this sort of people who take it obsessively, that there is the right thing to do and the moral thing to do. And even now, when you do a crossword or something like that, you can access so much, or the Wordle or anything, you can access cheating tools so easily. But do you cheat yourself? And do you feel that you do,
Yeah, you're only cheating yourself. Yeah, that hoary old teacher's maxim. I mean, and it's true, isn't it, that technology isn't the problem. The problem is something in our desire to, do we want to cheat ourselves? Maybe, maybe not. But do we want to get advantages to get on in the world? Of course we do. Who wouldn't? And whether those advantages are unfair or not is kind of, well, it's not irrelevant, but it sort of misses the point that we all want to be advantaged, and we will all seek whatever advantage we can get away with, I guess. Mm. Listen, we've banged on probably longer than we should have done, haven't we?
Well, we're
should we? Are we just warming up?
No, God, no. We're going to, we could bring it to strands together, as I think you call it.
Yeah, so, we've got school leaders using AI to avoid making judgments. We've got students using AI to avoid learning stuff. Is the issue AI? Is the issue technology? Or is it the erosion of confident human judgment? And if schools no longer trust librarians and exams can't trust students, then why should we trust education to pursue its own ends? Everything becomes a performance or a security procedure. Mm. So, but these are we heading off into a dystopia, Martin?
Well, these are.
Are we there already?
We're at the brave new world, whether we like it or not, But that's another book that's probably banned from a library near you from next week. But I think the more that slightly dangerous books are read, the better, probably. And
right. And okay, so and if the more slightly dangerous, emphasis on slightly there.
If boys only know that certain books are dangerous, that might get them back into libraries. The slightly dangerous and slightly. I'm using that term because you don't want them to be.
No, well, it sounds like a publisher's marketing event there. That we've got a series edited by Martin Robinson of slightly dangerous books for boys.
And on that
fantastic. Well, and on that note, thank you very much for wasting more of your life with us. I'm sure you regret it if you've made it through this far. But if you don't, and you didn't at the beginning, what should they do, Martin?
They should definitely like and subscribe and do all those sorts of things. And I think I've got a little tool that can.
Oh, go on!
There it is.
Look at that! Look at that!
Amazing, as if by magic.
I love the way it rolled in there. Yeah. Oh, and out again. There we are.
Extraordinary.
Did you get AI to make that, Martin?
I don't know. I did it on the thing.
Well, the fact that you don't know suggests...
I don't know if that's called AI. I mean, I don't know if that's what AI does on this. I made it myself, as far as I'm concerned.
All right. All right, Grandad.
I did the things, but I don't know if underneath the bonnet is AI. I don't think so. But
you
I
did the
know.
things.
I've got
Okay.
no idea.
Good.
Physics, I got a B in physics, by the way.
I didn't.
I'm not dense, like
No,
what you are.
clearly not. I know. You heard it here first. All right. Well, thank you for my very intelligent co-host Martin Robinson and the slightly dense David Dido.
See you later.
Or very dense.
Bye bye.